Yes, lots to discuss. Lee, firstly, great to have you on the show. Surprised you've not got a midweek game. Lots of fixtures coming thick and fast at the Championship, but great that you're with us.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be back, and it's been hectic the last few weeks, but it's nice to be back. Thanks.
Glenn, always good to have you on the show as always. Let's start by talking about your former club, Liverpool. I was with you watching the game, very animated. Surprise to many, losing this game 1-0. Solniguez, the goal scorer there. What did you make of the game?
Well, I think it's the way we saw that game unfold is kind of almost the only way you can beat Liverpool at the moment. It's almost like a smash and grab. Obviously, they got an early goal, which is great for them, and other than that, they pretty much sat on the ropes and gave Liverpool a bit of respect, or a lot of respect. And it'd be interesting to see what they do when it comes to Anfield, because I don't think you can get away with those tactics for 90 minutes at Anfield. I think Liverpool will break them down eventually, so I don't think it's the worst result in the world. Yeah,
we'll come on to what it means for the second leg. Lee, as a manager yourself, was that a bit of a masterclass from Diego Simeone there? We saw how animated he was towards the end. Job done for him.
Yeah, job done, because they've done what a lot of teams haven't been able to do for a long time against Liverpool. So you can say that, but like Glenn said, it's going to be a matter of time before Liverpool score. I'm surprised they didn't score tonight. Just lack that little bit of quality at times with their deliveries into the box from wide. But fair play to Atletico. They made it so then they had to cross the ball all the time and defend crosses, and they trusted their defenders. So, but it's going to be tough going to Anfield and trying to hold on to that.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because 1-0, Liverpool have overturned many defeats in the past. The famous one, of course, last season against Barcelona. You've played in those European nights at Anfield, Glenn. Just give us an insight into that 12th man factor at Anfield and what that can do for the players.
Well, it's massive. Mainly, like you said, mainly for these big games, because the fans will be there a lot earlier than the players, and they'll be letting the flares off early doors and making it very uncomfortable for Madrid from the minute they turn up. So it'd be one of those fast starts from Liverpool, I would imagine. And as Lee said, I reckon it would just be a matter of time until Liverpool break them down. And like I say, with that 12th man pulling them in, I think they'll get the job done still.
A lot of people, I think, will still have Liverpool favourites because of what you said. But Klopp looked disappointed, very animated as well. It was a very animated touchline, wasn't it, with Jurgen Klopp and Diego Simeone. Klopp will be very unhappy with that result, won't he? Even though he knows he's capable in the second leg to put it around. Yeah,
of course. Look, you don't want to win. You don't want to lose any match. But like, as I said earlier, I think that's the only way they will lose, in terms of an early goal and then a team just parking the bus and making it very difficult. But yeah, you saw moments there where there's a couple of potential fouls in the box where Klopp tried to wave his arms around and get a decision for his team, and rightly so. You know, he's trying to get a result. So, but yeah, both managers look very animated tonight.
Lee, how will Diego Simeone set up for this game? Because we know what Klopp has to do to overturn it, but they've got the 1-0 lead. How do you think he'll set up? Because Atletico Madrid teams in the past, notoriously been very hard to beat, very well organised, we saw tonight. What will his mindset be, do you think, going into a game that they've already 1-0 up in?
I think very similar to what they've done tonight. I think, that, like you said, they was very solid, 4-4-2, very solid, defended their box very well, defended deep. There was no space for the Liverpool players, the forward players, to run in behind and create problems in behind. So everything was in front of them. And like I said, they let them go wide, and then they defended the crosses. But like I said, Liverpool have that quality normally from out wide to eventually they're going to get on the end of one of them crosses. So they'll score. Liverpool will score. 100%.
100%?
100%.
But did you not think they'd score tonight as well? Because it was a surprise to many that didn't score. They've been scoring so many goals this season.
Yeah, but Liverpool, when you go in there and the atmosphere and everything, it just grabs you. And like Glenn's saying, it's completely different. And from my short experience playing in Europe, you're playing against two different teams. I was saying to Glenn earlier, when you play against a team away from home and then when they're playing at home, they're not the same. So,
well, just elaborate on that. In terms of what factors are the crowd, other factors?
Yeah, like when I played at home for Leeds, then we just overrun teams, and Liverpool do the same. They just overrun them, but when you then play that same team at their place, they become a different team completely. It's like they've got more energy, their attitude's different. Whether they don't like travelling, I don't know. Maybe it's changed a bit more from my days, but I'm watching that there, and there's not much difference. So yeah, once Liverpool get them back, they become a different animal for me, and then they just run over the top of them.
Yeah, João Felix didn't play, injured of course, their record signing. Diego Costa, who's not been fully fit, did come on. So if he does play in the second leg, how big will he be for Atletico? And he's the kind of player we imagine that would be quite up for that game. You know what Diego Costa, he thrives on those big games, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, yeah. Yeah, and for me, they need him in that game because he's a sort of guy that he knows how to be a pest, if you like, in those big matches, but he has the ability to back it up as well. So he's obviously a big guy that likes to create havoc for the centre halves and try and get them thinking of something else as opposed to their game plan. So for me, if they're going to try and get through this tie, I think he needs to play at Anfield. And
when Lee was saying 100% Liverpool will score, so you were nodding in agreement. You believe that as well?
Yeah, I do.
100% they'll score.
I do, because obviously they've been a force that no one's been able to stop so far. So I expect them to score, especially at home. And the thing is, with Atletico going there now with something to lose, I think they'll play even more defensive, because in their eyes they're going to think that they've got a great result. And like I say, if Liverpool had won this game 1-0, I think Madrid would have been a bigger threat at Anfield.
Really?
Because they would have nothing to lose, and they could just throw the toys out and go for it. Whereas now they've got kind of a foot through the door. They've got something to lose, and they might try and defend it a bit more. OK, amazing stat this, Lee. Liverpool have never lost a two-legged knockout tie in Europe under Jurgen Klopp. Back-to-back Champions League finals. They also got to Europa League final. There was a year when they weren't in Europe, of course. I mean, that is a phenomenal statistic, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're a machine now, aren't they? And that's why he's so animated on the sides, because they just don't like losing, no matter what football match they're turning.
And they're not used to it either, are they?
No, they're not used to it, and they don't like it. No one does. But I think that since Klopp's been there, he's turned them into a machine, and they just keep winning and grinding out results, even when they don't play well. So tonight he'd be disappointed, but he'll look at the bigger picture and know that there's still 90 minutes to go. Yeah, let's talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold, because we read some very interesting quotes today. This is from Brazil's legendary World Cup winning right-back Cafu. Not a bad player, Cafu, was he, Glenn, in his day? Not a bad player. Who said, Trent Alexander-Arnold, he sees similarities in his game to his own game, and he has what it takes to become a Ballon d'Or winner. So, strong praise. I think we can all agree Trent's having a fantastic season.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you go along with what Cafu says there? Well, can he be that good, Ballon d'Or winner? Yeah, well, look, if he keeps developing the way he has been, then for sure. He's obviously a very young kid, not been around that long, but he plays like he's been playing in the Premier League for 15 years. So as long as he keeps learning the game and has the same love and passion that he showed so far, then I don't think anything can stop him. And do you both expect Liverpool to turn this around? Second leg then? You do, Lee?
I do, yeah.
Glenn, you do? Yeah. Heart and head, obviously, former club and also...
Both.
OK, you both expect them to go through then. In terms of the Champions League as a whole, where do they sit in terms of favourites to lift the trophy? They're obviously the holders. Do you put them as one of the favourites, one of the teams to beat? And does it change based on what you've seen tonight?
I think, of course, they're the ones to beat in terms of their current champions, and they're obviously unstoppable in the Premier League at the moment. But the problem with the Champions League at this stage, everyone's good enough to beat each other. And it only takes something like this today or tonight, that an early goal, then most teams can hold out and they know the game well enough that they can slow the game down, they can get the odd injury, they can take a bit of time with throw-ins, and it's certainly harder to get through because their knowledge of the game is obviously level 10. So I think it's going to be tough for them to repeat the Champions League, but for me, they're still the ones to beat.